Professional streaming at its finest. Okay. Hello, everyone. It's me, Naven from Naven Gaming, and today we're going to be reacting to a few videos that I thought would be nice to react to. I've been personally trying not to watch them. I know a lot of people have been reacting to them as is, and I've been purposely trying to avoid all of them, including the actual video, to essentially do my own reaction of a few of them. I also included, well, two of them are Warhammer, but I decided to go back to the well, so to speak. But before I get to that, I just wanted to take this moment to say happy Men's Wellness Day. I'm on that Wellness Day of a month, I guess. I did not know that June was like was like a time for mental health awareness for men. That's kind of interesting. But yeah. So I thought I'd take the time just to say that because, you know, it's not exactly easy these days. Certainly not. And as far as God, I've had quite the week, let me tell you. I was going to make a video like yesterday and maybe even like a little bit before I had to go to work a few days ago, but it was fascinating. See, I started my computer, right? I clicked up the screen, you know, I got past the lock screen, and magically, right, suddenly, almost out of nowhere, as soon as the screen turned on, I heard a sound that sounded like a slight little, just like a light little spark, and then poof, it just turned off, and it would not turn back on. And so I had thought almost initially that my laptop had officially been bricked. And I even went through the process, right, of like, well, I guess if it's broken and if I'm going to be getting a new laptop either way, I guess I'll just go ahead and take a look at it and see what's wrong with it. And so I did something that I don't usually do, which is like I took the laptop and I flipped it over, I took it apart, and I looked at the inside of it, and it was an interesting experience. But no, it was fine. I don't know what happened to it that made it just kind of like permanently turn itself off like that until I ran out the battery, but it did that. But essentially all I did really was just clean it and then just put the covering back on and everything, and that was just my week, I guess. But yeah. Boy, oh boy, that was something. I actually thought I was going to have to buy a new laptop for a second. Now, as far as why I don't just buy a PC, a desktop, a tower, I don't have any room for it. Where I do all of my gaming is literally at the foot of my bed. I have like a small table like thing that I put on top of the bed, and I just play a game on that while sitting crisscross with the other laptop next to it, slightly hovered by a stand. But yeah, that's a little bit of an insight on how I typically tend to not only do my gaming but also how I do my streaming. But otherwise, yeah, I thought we'd just get that out of the way. So now, returning to the actual topics at hand. So, I decided to go back to the well a bit. Much to... I don't know, it's been a while since I actually reacted to a Shoe on Head video on this channel. The last time I reacted to a Shoe on Head video, granted, it got a lot of views, you know? So it seems natural, right, that I would go back to the quote-unquote well at some point, right? But it just feels... I don't know how else to say this. It feels just kind of, we'll just say yucky to go back to the well. Not necessarily because I think that, not because I don't like Shoe or anything. It's just that I watch Shoe's content on the regular in my own time sometimes. Whenever she has a new video, it's always something I like to watch just to see what she has to say about it. It's just that it's reacting to it is weird because on one hand, I don't want to consistently react to her content. Like, I don't want to be farming. Like, I feel like I'm farming content from her, basically. I feel like I'm farming views. I feel like I'm straight grifting when I react to shoe on head content. So, it's one of the reasons why I don't do it. The other reason why... There we go. Okay, and the other reason why I decided to choose this particular video was because it's a topic that I'm also already familiar with. And so it'd be interesting to see her take on it. So that's pretty much the long and short of it. Anyways, I don't have a whole lot of time to work with, but we'll just go ahead and just jump right into it. And then we're going to be playing Hell Is Us, which, if I remember correctly, that's a game being made by Kojima Productions, right? When I looked at Steam, it said that it was being made by a different company entirely, but I could have swore when I saw, like, reveal trailers of it, it was being made by, like, Kojima Productions or something related to Hideo Kojima himself, but maybe I was wrong. So, yeah, without further ado, let's just jump right into it, I guess. And, let's see. Yep. The audio's just getting kind of buggy all of a sudden. I don't like that. It should fix itself by the time I start playing the video, but it's a little weird that it does that. Anyways, I've noticed that whenever I do any type of streaming, it always gets buggy. Alright, anyways. But yeah, do feel free to subscribe, like the video, and we'll just get right into it now.
Men. What do they want? Money? Status? Fast, expensive cars? What is the ultimate male fantasy? Is it fame? Fortune? 3 hot chicks at once? Haha, hell yeah, brother. No, according to men on the internet, it's something a little more simple.
I mean, one is enough, 2 is too many, but 3 is certainly a wild one, to be sure. Look, I mean, there is a weird sort of fantasy about the idea of about messing around with twins for some dudes, right? But that's like a rare that's like a rare occurrence. That's not something that you're likely to encounter, let alone actually get as far enough to actually get to that point. And it's as far as 3 at once, that's 2 is more than likely just from like 2 different women, but it's like that's a lot more likelier to happen than just let alone 3 or even like twins. But that's usually the ones that are the most popular, aren't they? At least they're the ones that are the most, talked about in some of my, not just in my own circles, but just in general. Like whenever guys talk about like a weird sort of like I guess you could say sexual encounters that they would like to have. Some of those are usually being like they either want to do twins or they want to have a group session, so to speak. So I don't know how the hell you would juggle 3 women, but she's got an interesting point, I guess.
To men on the internet, it's something a little more simple.
Oh my god, what is this fetishistic content on screen? Who would dare do this?
Just a fetish. I fucking hate men so much. Men are why we can't have nice things.
Here we go.
As I was working on an upcoming video, I made the terrible mistake of logging onto Twitter, where I saw this post. A montage from the anime Josie, the Tiger, and the Fish, a movie about a college student who is assigned to take care of a paraplegic girl, and spoiler, eventually they fall in love. Many men were yearn posting in the replies of this tweet and talking about how they wish to fall in love and would love a relationship like this, while many others, mostly women, were absolutely fucking disgusted at this. Why would a bunch of men be fantasizing about being with a woman in a wheelchair? Seems pretty creepy and predatory, right? Also just unrealistic and problematic. Well, in this video, we are going to be talking about why so many men resonated to that clip and this movie, and why so many people are so confused as to why. We are also going to be reading some absolutely unhinged tweets, as usual, to get to the bottom of why such a wholesome post turned into, once again, another battlefront for the ongoing, never-ending gender war.
God. It's like, you watch the video, right? And you see this cute, very sort of almost like happy, bubbly sort of relationship between two people. And it seems really nice. It seems kind of serene even. And it looks just like they're having fun doing whatever the fuck. And then a lot of people are just like, yeah, that's cool. That's a relationship I would like to have. And then some of the fucking weirdos are just like, oh my god, why do men find this to be so weirdly why did they find this so weirdly fantasizing? Like, why are they fetishizing paraplegic women? And it's just like, I think you're missing the point. I think you're missing the point. It's not about the fact that she's paraplegic. It's about the fact that it's an actual show that focuses on Frying, or was it a movie? Oh god, I don't even remember now. But anyways, it's a work of fiction focusing on a romance between two people that actually seems nice, and there's nothing combative about it, and there's nothing annoying about it. All right, it's just wholesome content. It has nothing to do with the fact that she's in a wheelchair, but so a lot of people tend to hyperfixate around this particular issue, and it's just like, it has nothing to do with the wheelchair. It's just about, oh, look at the wholesomeness of this content. Look at how awesome, about how cool, fun, and even romantic this whole thing looks. It's nothing about the goddamn wheelchair aspect of it. The fucking wheelchair aspect of it is like the furthest thing from the conversation in most people's minds. At least, especially even men's minds. And some of them are just straight up just like, oh, but they just want a girl, basically, who just can't run away from them. That actively depends on them. And it's like, no, not really. I mean, do guys like to help? Sure. Would guys feel better about it if they were dependent on a little bit more than is reasonably should? Maybe. But I think a lot of people and a lot of men just like a woman who just appreciates them and respects them enough to actually care about them and their well-being, among other things, right? It really is a wonder how fucking stupid the modern generation of women as well as some men are, because they literally can look at something as wholesome as this and they're just like, there is something creepy about this. I see an interesting parallel. I see a weird connection. Just like, there's nothing here. You're literally making a mountain out of a molehill. It is nothing that fucking nefarious. It boggles my own mind half the time. Anyways, moving on.
Again, another battlefront for the ongoing, never-ending gender war. Men versus women, women versus men, the male loneliness epidemic, the female loneliness epidemic, the dealing with dating apps. Do men prefer thin women or curvy women? Brunettes or blondes? Do women like dad bods or fit men? Do they like beards or clean-shaven? Oh yeah, that reminds me. Let's quickly get into today's sponsor, Henson Shaving. You ever just accept that some products are just garbage? Like, for years I thought ripping your tights on the first wear was just a part of being a human woman. We just accepted that. That's just how it is, sweetie. But that shouldn't be how it is. It's a bad design. And that's why I like Henson shaving. Because if you've ever used a multi-blade razor, you're probably sick of the irritation, the razor burn, the overpriced blades, and you probably think, that's just the way it is. But it doesn't have to be how it is. Thanks to Henson Shaving. Henson Shaving is on a mission to improve shaving, with no gimmicky subscriptions or moisturizing strips, but with real innovation and a focus on your skin's health. What really sets Henson apart is their engineering, with their Henson AL13 safety razor being manufactured in an aerospace machine shop that built parts for the International Space Station. This precision allows the blade to extend just 1/1000th of an inch beyond the shave plane, less than the thickness of a human hair. The razor prevents any bouncing or skipping, resulting in an irritation-free shave every time. And here's the best part, once you invest in a Henson razor, it's a lifetime purchase. The only thing you'll need to replace are the blades, which literally cost only 10 cents each. So once you own the razor, you'll be spending like $3 to $5 on blades, compared to the ongoing cost of buying expensive plastic cartridges. Henson's store offers a variety of colors and even a titanium version, so you can pick the razor that best fits your style. So if you're tired of razor burn and overpaying for blades, now is the perfect time to make the switch. Just head over to hensonshaving.com/shoe and add both a Henson razor and the 100 blades to your car, and then enter code SHOE at checkout to get the 100 blades for free with your purchase. Your skin, your wallet, and your environment will thank you. Big thanks to Henson Razor for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. You didn't skip the ad, right? Now, let's get back to the video.
No, I don't skip the ads. I consistently never do. I was planning on reacting to this a week from now, but since everyone's already kind of jumping on the ship to react to this, I don't usually use that as an excuse, but, everyone's already reacting to it. Shu clearly is aware of the fact that people react to her content, and, it's been a few days at the very least. I feel like all of the traction to the video has come, and is now starting to go on the slow decline, so to speak, when it comes to viewership. Because it comes in as, from what I understand, most of the view count is on the first day, followed by maybe a little bit more from the second day, and then from there on, it just starts to peter out a little bit. So I'm currently tackling it at a point where it's just most of the viewership she would have gotten would have happened on the, has already, come and gone. So at least that's how I remember the YouTube algorithm working. So, as well as how video content on here works. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. Either way, I definitely would suggest that if you haven't seen the video yourself, you can go ahead and watch it yourself. Maybe come back to this one. I'll certainly be here. I'm going to be reacting to a few other videos. Some of them are going to probably be an hour long. At least one of them is. I know that to be sure. Actually, two of them are, actually. I don't know if I'm going to have... I'm not sure what my time is going to look like by the end of this, but I'm hoping to get to the Hell Is Us demo at some point. I'll probably just skip some of the reactions or so, and just go straight into that, especially depending on how much, because, I tend to pause a lot during videos, and that's to rant, and that's kind of the quality of reacting to a video, while at the same time it's the problem of also I just get into a tangent too easily. It's a bit of a me issue there, but I try to keep it quick, concise, at least to the point, at the very least. And that being said, I'm just going to go back into that.
Anime connoisseur. In fact, I basically know nothing about anime. I am probably the most tourist of all the tourists. Yeah, hi. I have a question. Was the upskirt shot necessary in order to advance the plot? I watched Pokemon and Sailor Moon when I was a kid.
No, it never is.
A few years ago, I watched Beastars on Netflix. Legoshi, best boy. Not a furry, by the way. And honestly, that's about it for my anime consumption. Unless you're counting VTubers. If you're counting VTubers, I watch a lot of anime. But because of this clip going viral, I watched Josie the Tiger and the Fish, and, well, I thought it was a good movie. I recommend watching it. I thought it was a really cute, good story. I only cried a little bit. And I completely understood what the tweet meant by calling it the average male fantasy. So, what was wrong with it? Why did this clip go so viral in such a negative way? Why were thousands of people angry at this post? Well, let us...
Well, it's because they're sad, unhappy, and bitter human beings. That's literally just the problem of miserable people being absolutely miserable. You know, you know how this works, right? Misery attracts. It's the same thing. It's really a problem of Twitter. It's a problem of the internet at large. There's too many miserable people on this godforsaken planet. People need to go the fuck outside and find ways to alleviate this problem. And some might even argue that I'm a bit miserable as well, because I certainly don't put nearly as much effort as I should into the streaming thing. And I feel like I could do so much more if I just had the passion for it, which I don't have the passion for a lot of things anymore. It's hard to work up the motivation to do anything. Hell, I sometimes have to actually work hard to even get up in the morning. It is a really fascinating process, isn't it? You know, like, we live in a first world country where everything is great to a degree, and, you know, it's your mileage in life is basically just how much money you make, and that's the only thing you need to worry about. And yet, despite this fact, despite this one essential truth, everything feels like shit. It feels like dog shit. Life feels like dog shit. Nothing is satisfying. Nothing is gratifying. And you better fucking believe nothing feels good anymore. And any joy that was in the things that you do like to do, and the things you do enjoy, have been at some point or another had the life sucked out of it, because companies forgot that products had to be enjoyable. And so you're kind of left sitting there just wondering, what the fuck am I supposed to do with myself? I'm getting into a depressing topic, but that's basically the long and short of living in a first world country. You know, like, unlike other countries, you know, like, where the biggest problem is that you just need to either be smart enough to, like, survive in a country that has little to no means of actually being able to help maintain a sustainable form of living, or, you know, you're actively having to fight for your next meal, maybe having to hunt for it, among other things. You know, here in first world countries, there's a lot of existentialistic bullshit that you have to contend with, on top of the fact that everybody's on the same playing field, competing for the same jobs and opportunities you're competing for, and then the people who do get those jobs and opportunities like to take the ladder out right from under them as soon as they get further in life. And it's certainly a fascinating process to be in a first world country, having to see the absolute bottom feeder level behavior, and then having to live and cope with the fact that there is no fucking means or way to get around a lot of these issues without just some basic common decency and respect. It fucking baffles my mind all of the goddamn time. I hate my fucking job. Not this job. This job I do every so often, or not. I hate any other type of job. I hate the job that I have to go to just to make ends meet. That's the kind of job that I hate. I still have yet to get my car done, by the way. I have, since I'm going to be taking that thing in, I have a date schedule for it, but that's not for at least, like, another few days. And even then, I might have to sell it and then get it in, you know, like, exchange it for another vehicle, simply so that way I can actually have a proper working vehicle. And it's not even broken. In fact, I could probably continue to drive it. It's just the problem, of course, is that parts of it are broken. It's probably going to take too much money to repair some of its issues. And, yeah, it's just, wanting to repair the whole thing is going to be a massive time sink, but that's neither here or there. Anyways, yeah, life sucks. Go figure. If only people could just accept it and move forward, right? But that's asking too much from the Twitter people.
Why were thousands millions of people angry at this post. Well, let us dilly-dally no longer and read some of these angry replies to get a better understanding of what the issue is, shall we? Wholesome male fantasy, and it's fetishizing a disabled girl for him to control. Oh. Oh no. They think, oh god. Why? Always vulnerable, always happy, always needs you. Pretty perverted. Where are these fanfictions coming from? There were like hundreds of tweets just like
They read too much doujinshi or hentai. They read way too many weird fucking novels. I wouldn't even be surprised if these people are from places like, you know, they're the usual suspects from Book Talk, among other things. Like, you know that some of these people have seen and engage with the most deranged shit, that they can't see anything as normal anymore. They have to be thinking, damn it, they're fetishizing people who shouldn't be fetishized. How could they do this? I have to reiterate. Your likes on Twitter are viewable. You can actually view them. People can see your likes on Twitter. It is a fascinating. I bet you if you go down the rabbit hole of some of these accounts who are saying some pretty heinous shit about this particular clip, I bet you're gonna find some pretty interesting things in their likes. I would not doubt it, because it's usually the people with actual skeletons in their closet who somehow have the biggest beef with certain things, and it's the funniest fucking thing in the universe. I don't know if they're just trying to pretend, right, that it's not a them problem, or if they're trying to pretend like, oh no, I don't like this kind of content, and then you go and look at their likes, it's like, I have thousands upon thousands of things that you've liked and posts that you've liked that tell me otherwise. God, Rev was not joking.
pretty perverted. Where are these fanfictions coming from? There were like hundreds of tweets just like this. Why did they see a cute montage of a happy couple, a man and a woman happy, together? I know, unheard of. Why did they see that and then immediately come to
No, unheard of.
Like, as someone who actually watched the movie, Josie is not always happy. And she's absolutely not portrayed as some, like, vulnerable, ooh-woo, sex doll waifu. She's boisterous, she kind of has a foul mouth, she's very sassy and headstrong, she like straight up calls him her servant, but she was also very depressed. She basically never left her house, she was basically a girl failure. As a former girl failure, I love to see representation in media.
Sounds like me, honestly. I feel like that should be me. I feel like I relate to that as, you know, like a lot more these days. Especially since I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing anymore. Anyways, that sounds like a proper plot to any type of fiction. It sounds like a true proper plot for actual romance to take place. Why is this so bad? I don't understand.
But they actually show her disability, like, not in a good way. Like, they don't romanticize it, they don't sugarcoat it. And I noticed, unlike a lot of movies, unlike a lot of romance movies, at least like the Hallmark kind, where it's like the stuffy male lead learning to live life from the quirky, cute female lead, he's already got his shit together. And she learns to live life from him. He encourages her to live her dreams, and in return, he learns to live life in a completely different way. And I thought that was really cool and sweet. Also, the animation was really good. Is anime good? Have I been sleeping on anime this entire time?
Oh, yeah, yes, you have. You've been sleeping on anime for the longest time. Like, I'm not gonna say that everything that's anime related is gonna be is kind of equal helping. You know, there's certainly anime targets mostly the male demographic, but there is a lot of other content out there that women can enjoy, and there's quite a laundry list of history since the formation of of the anime industry that has content that women can easily get access to today that you couldn't get access to before. It's just going down the list of shows that would be directly appeal to you. And if you know the difference between like seinen, shonen, or shoujo, you're gonna have an easy time. You're gonna have an easy time trying to figure that shit out. But otherwise, right? You know, anime is great. Anime has a lot of interesting stories. Some of it is kind of fucking weird, but you know what? We learn to live with the weird. I'm an old anime fan. I liked anime before it was popular. I can definitely tell you that a lot of the weird quirks and weird shit is just there. It's just funny to a degree. In fact, most Japanese culture kind of like uses sex as a way to, as for haha funny joke type of things. They don't, it's not necessarily there for gooner material. It's there to be funny most of the time. Like, a lot of people take some of the things that happen, like, say, in High School of the Dead, and they're just like, how is this sexy? And it's like, it's not meant to be sexy. It's meant to be stupid. It's meant to be funny. You're not supposed to take it seriously. Boobs doing fucking weird physics to avoid bullets is not necessarily meant to be taken literally or sexually. It's meant to be, ha ha, look at this stupid thing that's happening. That's... If you're not seeing the joke, you're missing the point. But otherwise, yeah. You know, in Japan, sex is used as a vehicle for funny, stupid shit. And not necessarily for gooner bait or gooner material, though it does have that effect as well. But, you know, otherwise, there's a lot of great shows. And there's a lot of great anime that a lot of people can enjoy, that both genders could appreciate, and they even segment their anime contents and stories based off of what particular genders are going to gravitate towards what particular content. They make shows for boys, they make shows for girls. You know, like they make shows with an obvious leaning towards specific demographics, which is, by the way, premier way to do content. Why hasn't the Western entertainment industry caught up to this fact yet? Why are we there? Why haven't we gotten to that point? Anyways, moving on.
Fantasy is that she becomes permanently disabled and helplessly dependent on him, but can still make him a sandwich. Sounds about right. Oh my god, after watching the movie, these tweets are even more insane. But even putting the movie aside, just seeing that like cute montage out of context, where the are they getting this? These are very clearly just two happy people. But because the caption was the average male fantasy, their mind immediately goes to the darkest, worst faith interpretation of this. The problem is these people can't see any.
They really do just expect the worst from people. You know, like I do daily. Especially when I go to my retail job. It's like, oh yes, I too am going to have to deal with potentially having to answer another customer's bullshit questions that'll probably eventually lead to me having to argue with them, not only about how we do our return policy, but also that we cannot sell you the display model because the display model either no longer functions or because we don't sell the fucking display model furniture for reasons that I myself could not explain to you other than we just don't. What the fuck do you want? It really baffles my mind sometimes. The level of idiocy that humanity will undergo. That working people will have to see, especially when it comes to working front lines on the business side of things. You know, having to talk directly and having to interact with customers is truly, in any business or industry, probably one of the most daunting things there is. And I feel like people should get paid pretty well for having to deal with that shit. Because let me tell you, I have met and have dealt with some pretty particularly interesting little brainlets, and if I could, I would have these people go see a neurologist so that way they can get an interesting mapping of how their fucking brain works, because sometimes I question the sanity and the sanctity and the intelligence of the modern, everyday, average Joe and Jane that walks this godforsaken earth that has been abandoned long ago. I swear to God. It really does. It really does baffle my mind. It really does. Anyways.
The darkest, worst faith interpretation of this. The problem is these people can't see any humanity in men. They can't see any humanity in humanity in general. Average male fantasy.
No, same.
Girlfriend with no agency who's completely physically dependent on you and forced into blanket subservience and compliance. Sounds about right. You males are weird for fetishizing physically disabled women. Average male fantasy is having a physically disabled girl that they can abuse however they want. Got it. Not to be that guy, I'm gonna be that guy. The infantilization of the physically disabled here is a little, dare I say, ableist? The implication here that people in wheelchairs cannot find love, and if they do, the person who loves them literally just loves them because they can't run away. Weird. Average men can't even be nice to their healthy and normal girlfriend. What makes you think they'll be able to handle disabled person as their lover? Whoa, normal? What do you mean by normal?
I'm gonna unpack that one just for a hot second. The idea that the average man can't even be nice to their healthy and normal girlfriend is an argument that requires some dissection here. Men do want to be nice to their healthy and normal girlfriend. Men would like to have a nice and healthy relationship with their girlfriend. In fact, I guarantee you, a majority of the men in America will want nothing more than to be in a relationship with someone who is nice, normal, and or healthy. The problem, of course, is that there is a supply and demand, and the demand is not being met. Where are all the women who are nice and healthy? Answer that fucking question. Where are they? Where are they? Because I can tell you that in all the places that I've seen, whether it's dating apps, the bar, as well as some other places where you might find some average, normal, everyday people gather and congregate, whether it's at cons or whatever, you know, like, are they all particularly nice people? Not really. Do they actually, you know, want to actually be in relationships? Probably not. Do they care at all when you walk up and are just like, hey, I don't know. You know, like you just walk up and you're just kind of like, you shoot your shot and you're just, you know, you're just kind of like, hey, I don't want to be rude or be a bother or whatnot, but you seem kind of cute, and I was just wondering if maybe you'll want to, if I could buy you a drink or something. Is that, you know, would that be all right? Am I overstepping? Do you not want to? And, you know, like, they're clearly being awkward about it, right? Because I've seen this happen plenty of times. They're clearly being awkward about it. They're not sure how to navigate it. Because, you know, it's hard to kind of come out cold turkey and just be like, hey, I like you. Do you want to go grab a drink? And they'll just be there just like, no, thanks. My favorite one, right, is when they think you're a creep and then they're just like, no, and go away. And it's just, you know, like, or, you know, the best thing is when they're just like, they just directly insult you into your face and they're just like, ew, fuck, no, get away. Go away. I don't want to talk to you. It's my favorite one. It's my favorite one. I have not had that experience. I have seen other people have that experience. And it's why I don't do it. It's why I do not put myself in that situation. So again, I have to ask the question. If the dating apps are fucked, if going and meeting people normally is fucked, what isn't? I'm asking this again on behalf of all men. Where are they? Where are these nice, healthy, normal girlfriends? These women who want nice, healthy, normal relationships. Where are they? I rest my case.
Men can't even be nice to their healthy and normal girlfriend. What makes you think they'll be able to handle disabled person as their lover? Whoa, normal? What do you mean by normal? These people are just so ableist, chat. Can you believe it? Chat? Chat? I don't even live stream. Who's chat?
She watches way too many VTubers. It's true. She's just outed herself at this point. She is so down the brain rot rabbit hole. She is so down the VTuber rabbit hole She is now referring to the non-viewers in front of the camera who will be watching the video, the future viewers who will be watching the video, as chat. Chat. She literally called us chat. That is the funniest fucking thing. Oh my god. That is actually funny. But no, I didn't even... And what's funny is that even through that entire tirade that I just went on, I didn't even mention the fact that most women are fucking mentally just incapable of being able to reciprocate, like, actual genuine love and affection. Or even go down the other rabbit holes of them having weird fucking interests as among other things, as well as fantastical notions of what romance actually is. It's truly a wonder. But yeah, that's just funny. Oh my god.
Can you believe it? Chat? Chat? I don't even live stream. Who's chat? I'm disabled, blind, so I showed this to my boyfriend. He says, I love you because you're you, and you make my days happier. So what if I have to drive you places or help you with cooking and cleaning? I would have done that anyway. Disability has nothing to do with it. I love you. Ma'am, I don't know how to tell you this, but, your boyfriend is a rapist. Sorry you had to find out this way. You show this as fantasy.
Your boyfriend is... she basically just roleplay Twitter there for a second.
Because it's not true for the majority of men who participate in abuse of disabled people. No, the fantasy is the woman appreciates his efforts to make her happy. Stop lying and abusing women and the disabled.
How was he...
Schizo.
Oh, yes, the copium.
Guy, what do you mean stop abusing women and the disabled? Bitch, who are you? Also, the majority of men participate in abuse of disabled people. Are you okay? The majority of men are not abusers. That is a very, very small minority of men. The majority of men are men that just wake up, take a shit, get out of bed, take a shower, go to work, come home, and wait for GTA 6 to come out. That's the majority of men. Men commit 95% of all rape, but okay. Barging into the romance section of Barnes & Noble like, attention everyone! Rape! Where is that coming from? So close.
Again, these people, they must watch too much hentai, because there's no way in hell they actually think this, unless they're actually convinced of this. Like, these people must consume so much gooner material. It's the only way I could justify this. These people must be unironically consumers of such a level of fetishistic content that they just assume this is the kind of shit that people like. This is the kind of shit that men want. And it's like, no, they're just popular tags by people who are already down this rabbit hole to begin with. It has nothing to do with normal everyday people. I would not take the opinions or interests of tens of thousands of people as like a determiner for how millions upon several hundreds of millions of Americans and others to essentially view realistically what a relationship should be like, what it should look like, or even what sexual gratification even is. I would not use that as a determining factor, all right? And it's about as dumb as when women sit there and they're just like, all men are this, all men are that. It's like, how would you like it if I said all women are fucking, like, parasites who only use you for your money, who only see you as a fucking bank account for which to use and abuse? An emotional punching bag for which they can basically manipulate, contort, and twist to do whatever the hell suits them. Does that sound good? Does that sound good to anyone? How about any of the women who might be watching this? Does that sound good to you? I don't fucking think so. Does that sound good to anybody? No. If it doesn't sound good when I do it, then it doesn't sound good when you do it. Shut the fuck up and get a life.
This is fetish content. Ah yes, the dirtiest, most taboo of all fetishes. A happy relationship. Honestly, in 2025, that might be true. Oh, you want a wife and kids?
Yeah, that's true.
You sick fuck. But this is literally just...
It's true. You know, sometimes I even think about it sometimes. Just like, man, I have a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine at work, who's getting a baby, who's actually made it. He's one of the few people who've actually made it. What in the hell am I doing with my life? Why can't I have that? And then I realized, oh yeah, that's right, because I'm not exactly a very tolerant person. I'm kind of opinionated, and I also just don't think I would be very tolerable to another person as well. Not only am I not tolerant to certain opinions, I probably wouldn't be nearly so tolerable to other people as well, especially on that level. I kind of already figured that shit out a while ago. But, you know, some people would also argue, like, oh no, it's just about working past your differences, it's about compromising, it's about trying to find the good point, it's trying to balance the good points with the bad ones, you know? And it's just like, well, that might be true, right? I don't think people are capable of that, though. At least not anymore. I don't think people are capable of this. It's either you are perfect for my needs or you are garbage. Especially women. They view men who are not perfect as disposable things that need to just be ignored or gotten rid of. And particularly, I am a little bit more, I wouldn't say flummoxed. I got a bit more of a slant in the sort of negative direction. I got a bit more of that now because even my own flesh and blood, even my own fucking brother has had this problem. He literally got married to a woman who already had 3 kids, 2 different fathers, if that wasn't big enough of a red flag, but he took a chance anyways, got a child with her, and then proceeded to fuck him over. Alright, the signs were there and it was obvious. For all you single mothers out there, wondering why you can't find yourself a dude, congratulations. There's your fucking example. Be better than the fucking broads out here who are basically farming for fucking divorce money. And even then, you're probably still not going to get very far because it takes a man to make the first move. And if he's already seen prospects about you that seem particularly damaging, don't expect a whole lot of people to be lining up to shoot that shot. Just don't. Just don't even expect. Don't even. At some point, they're not even going to try. We're already seeing men completely leaving the dating market. We're seeing men completely turning away from this shit. All right? It's just a matter of time before everyone just stops cold turkey. Their fucking left and right hands are going to be their girlfriends. They're going to buy machines that will just self-flatulate them. It's going to happen, ladies. It's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. And as funny of a fucking idea as that is, it's a reality that is scarily and eerily close to coming. I just played the fucking meme sound effect. But anyways, it's literally on the horizon. You cannot escape this. This is the future. This is the future for every first world nation because we have gotten so technologically advanced. We become so comfortable with the trivialities and the mundanity of normal everyday life that even the slightest hiccups and issues are seen as a monumental task or hurdle. To the point to where, like, we don't even consider doing typical adult things that would be typical and, you know, like, that would just be an average thing that you would just normally do as, like, as like, just trivial shit. We call it adulting now. We call it adulting. And we act like it's a giant struggle. It is absurd. Truly. Alright? And I say this knowing full goddamn well I'm a 90s kid. I was born in the 90s. I'm almost 30 fucking years old. Almost 30 fucking years old. I'm not even a goddamn boomer and I'm telling you this shit. That's how fucked it is.
Just a perverted fantasy, LMAO. You think it's a perverted fantasy because... How do I put this nicely? You are a pervert. Literally seeing a cute montage of a male and female character having fun together, being in love together, and being like, rape! He's a rapist! This is a fetish! Are these people okay? Stop watching porn. Wait, this is a woman. Okay, stop reading Taken by the Werewolf Billionaire. Or whatever the fuck you read. I swear to God, some of the shit women read would make the most depraved internet gooner blush. Or so I've been told. This is...
Just casually self-reporting herself. And you know what's funny is that guys can actually tolerate freaky women, especially in the bedroom. Like, it's kind of like a bonus. You don't... It just depends on what it is. But it's like, I don't know why it is so hard, right? I don't know why it is so hard. You really want to find a decent guy? Stop going to clubs. Stop going to the bar. Stop using dating apps. Just walk the fuck outside. Just go meet dudes casually in a casual setting. Just do it. Just fucking do it. Stop being a dumbass. Stop being an insufferable cunt and just fix your goddamn tude. It's not this. It should not be this hard. If you have a penchant, right, for being a bitch, stop being a bitch. It's that simple. I know it's not that simple, but you couldn't at least, if you have the wherewithal to know when you're being a cunt, just stop. Just stop. And just let it go. Anytime I feel like I want to say something or I feel like I should be the absolute worst in this moment, I just stop because I'm aware of it. I see it coming and I'm like, I could totally ruin this person's day right now. I could totally be a bit of a petty piece of shit right now and just say something that's going to completely piss them off or get under their skin or is going to make them do a double take. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Not because I don't want to deal with the hassle of having to argue in circles around this person, but I'm also just not going to do it right simply because it's just not fucking worth it. It's just not fucking worth it. Some people think it's fucking worth it. Those people love to waste my fucking time as well as everybody else's. They don't deserve my time. Go fuck yourself. Period.
Literally just a fetish. Okay, listen, I'm not gonna pretend there's nobody out there who's like, she can't run away, she has no legs. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend there's nobody out there who has a crippled, disabled fetish, okay? I've been on the internet.
Oh, yes, no, like, straight up. I'm sure there are people who probably do fetishize certain types of people and content, all right? There's no question about that, but those people are very few and far between. They're not going to look at this particular thing, and most people are not going to look at that particular movie or TV show and think to themselves, ooh, paraplegic woman, that's an easily abusable situation where I can get all of the necessary gratification and benefits that satiate my fucking needs. No. That's not how they're going to look at it. Most normal people are going to be like, oh, look at that wholesome, cute relationship. That looks like a couple that I would absolutely want to replicate in my own life. That's relationship goals right there. But I'm sure, right, there are going to be a few people who are going to look at that and they're going to be like, that's totally me. I would love to have that. I would love to have a woman who would just be waiting on me on hand and foot, just basically just wanting me to help them do anything. Like, I totally want to be in that position. Like, I'm sure there are some people who are like this. Do I think a majority of people are like that? No, of course not. And I wouldn't be stupid enough to actually delude myself into thinking as such. But there's a lot of stupid people on this planet, so we're just going to have to come to accept this unmistakable fact of reality. That there is too many fucking stupid people who think that this is an actual fantasy and delusion that a majority of people have. And it's just not true. It's not true by the fact that people focus more on the ideal of the situation rather than the fucking weird sort of fetishistic, almost ridiculous lean in a very bizarre and fucked up direction that apparently some Twitter pugnads have just decided to make it into. It's so fucking weird. God damn it. It is so fucking weird.
For 20 years, I've been on DeviantArt. I've seen shit you wouldn't believe. But the majority of people, probably most, if not all the people responding to this, do not have a cripple fetish, okay? In fact, her being in a wheelchair basically has nothing to do with it. Much like how females coom over, like, vampires or, like I said before, the billionaire werewolf fantasy. This is just the...
Women who just like vampires just want to have their necks kissed more often than not. Like, you would be surprised how many women don't like vampires because of the fact that they're vampires, but rather because they like the idea of someone just every so often, right? Just give the neck just a bit of a suckle. That's all they want. It's surprisingly simple how that is an actual thing. Like, I did not think this was true, right? I did not think this was true, but then the more you delve into that rabbit hole, the more you start to see why women actually like certain weird sort of fantastical things from fiction, such as vampires or whatnot. The more you start to realize, oh, it's because they just need more physical attention. They want that kind of intimacy. You know, they need this kind of affection because that's literally all it is. Oh my god. There are other aspects to vampires in fiction, among other things, that are also, or that are also pretty amazing. That are, I guess, would be pretty amazing for some women. But it surprises me because I've seen certain examples, right, from people who, like, when dating a woman who do like certain vampire books, novels, stories, or whatever, they are surprisingly susceptible to somebody kind of just slowly, just kind of like, and suddenly just kind of like lowering their head down and just giving them a nice little smooch on the neck, and they're just like, they look so shocked and in awe, and if you just continue to do it, they won't even stop you. It is literally one of those things where it's just like, it is surprising. It is a surprising level of affection that is so goddamn awe-inspiring that it's just like, I'm not even gonna stop you. This is enjoyable. Please keep going. It's Jesus Christ. Anyways, I'm moving on.
The average male fantasy distilled down to its most extreme. So what is the average male fantasy? The average male fantasy is the fantasy of both men and women alike. It is simply to love and to be loved. But more specifically, the male fantasy is to be a protector and a provider for those that they love. Put a pin in this because we are going to come back to this in a big way, trust me. The average male fantasy is being a globally known terrorist. The average male fantasy is that a woman who isn't fat. The average male fantasy is actually job security. You know what? These guys may have a point here.
You know, they do seemingly have a point. If your weight's... Here's the interesting thing, right? Every time I hear a woman being like, ask me about my height, for example, because I've had this conversation once. I had a woman ask me, what's your height? I would immediately follow that up by like, what's your weight? And they would get pissed at me, but I'm just like, hey, you asked me for my height, all right? And if your weight starts with 2, we're going to have an interesting discussion about why your question is pettier than mine. And I don't think you want to have this conversation. Be wary when you ask people what their height is, because you're going to get people like me who will just outright ask you what your fucking weight is. And if it's obvious that your weight starts with 2, we're not gonna have a good time. I'm at the point in my life where I am literally on the verge of just not giving a fuck anymore. Like, I stopped caring about social etiquette and just being nice. Like, there's only a certain level that proper decorum and manners that can get that. There's only a certain level of doing all of these things, of being socially aware, cognizant, intelligent, that gets you so far until it goes into a territory where it's just like, you have to deal with annoying people. And because these annoying people never get told back that they're being annoying, or they never get served a nice heaping helping of their own bullshit, they just continue to do the bullshit. And so I feel like at some point, right, it's got to be somebody's job to correct the behavior. Because if you don't correct the behavior, it just becomes a problem. And if you don't correct the problem, everyone's going to think it's okay to do it. Women have notoriously continued to think that it is entirely okay to assume the worst in people, and that it's entirely fine to generalize, and the best part, to ask and do things that most men would think is fucking weird, god-awful, or leave themselves scratching their heads wondering, what the fuck just even happened? You know, like, it's at some point, right? You have to put the bullshit on display, and you have to throw it back in their face. It has to happen. It has to come from somewhere. And if I have to be the one to do it, especially for something as obvious as just like, you are blatantly being a piece of shit right now, I'm going to do it. It is going to happen. And I do not give the slightest fuck about your feelings. I don't. Especially not now. I've stopped caring about the feelings of people whose opinions and ideas do not concern me.
Pedophile alert. Men want disabled child wives? Average male fantasy is a disabled child? More proof that men are pedos. That's a little girl. This is weird. So, first of all, she's literally older than the guy. The guy is 22 and she is 24. In anime years, he is practically hag maxing. And yes, she may be physically disabled, but aren't all men mentally disabled in their own special way? At least the ones in my audience. They will freely admit this. Maybe she, the older woman, is taking advantage of this sensitive young man. Have you ever thought of that? She looks like an 11-year-old child. Where are her breasts? First of all, really weird way to say that. She looks like a child. Show me her titties. Also, I love how, like, when anime women have huge boobs, it's disgusting, Coomer porn brain or whatever.
Yeah, there's no winning with this argument. It's either you damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? If you have giant tits, if you have big bazongas, you're seen as an enemy of mankind. You have mosquito bites for boobs, you are still an enemy of mankind. There is no winning in this argument, in this perpetual playground of bullfuckery. There is only one essential truth, and that's both. Both exist, and this conversation makes both parties look fucking awful. Knock it the fuck off. I have people in my own family who are short, stubby, and don't exactly have a whole lot going on in both the top and bottom departments. I have people in my own family who have it made in both departments as well. Both can exist at the same time, and it's fine. It is not this big of a deal. There are petite women, there are thick, hot women. Let's just get over it. And we don't have to immediately assume that something is being fetishized or sexualized based off of the proportions of the person behind the fucking screen or even on it. It is not this big of a deal. It is not. Stop thinking with your stupid gooner brain. It is not this hard. All right? Focus on what is actually the story being told here. And unless they're literally having the heroines of the story literally like dropping all over themselves, basically like needing the main character to fix all of their problems, waiting hand and foot, literally needing the main character to get them out of some rather risque, some weird fucky situations, and sometimes leading to more weird instances where suddenly, oh, now she's on top of him, now they're having this weird moment, oh, suddenly now they're having this weird sort of like sexual almost entanglement that just makes no fucking sense in the context of the goddamn show or in general. And if it's like this kind of levels, this is like harem anime levels of stupidity. That is a different fucking story. This is not that bad. The show that they are bitching about has none of these things. It is crazy. And mind you, I haven't seen the show. Shu has seen the show. And she's clearly not seen any of this shit, or else she would have mentioned it by now. So clearly there's none of that shit in the show. Why are we acting like there is gooner bait in the show? There is none. This isn't High School DxD. This is none of the gooner bait shows in anime like you would typically see from that side of the shonen aspect of the industry. It is literally just a wholesome relationship between two people. It is, what the fuck? I feel like I shouldn't even need to explain this.
But if the anime woman has small boobs, she is a child and you're a chimo. Can't fucking win. Also, if she had big boobs, they'd absolutely be like, wow, look at this sexualization of the disabled. Also, you know, like,
I know,
adult
right?
women
Jesus.
can be flat-chested, right? Like, that actually exists in real life. Like, adult human women can have small boobs. We love all titties here on the Shoe on Head channel. All titties is good titties. End of story. Women fantasy.
Based. So fucking based. Alright, as a certified boob man myself, I love breasts of all sizes. I do not discriminate. I love boobs, and I will declare it happily on the channel. As a red-blooded male, I will happily declare that I love boobs of all kinds, and I don't care what they look like, as long as you have them.
A boyfriend with depth and the loving, soft, deeply caring side of them. Men's fantasy. 12-year-old anime girl who looks and speaks like a toddler. Also notice how she's literally the shape and size of a child. Yuck. Have you people ever seen a child? No. You're all childless. Silly me. She's not even that short. She's just sitting. See, like when they're laying side by side, she's like a full-grown adult woman. Why do these people look at this and immediately think of child rape? Go to therapy. And listen, I know with anime it can get a little...
I mean, I even have friends who focus a little too much on this particular topic as well. It's just like, there are such things as petite women. And sometimes, you know, like, even among my own friend groups, I'm usually very passive, right? I usually let a lot of things slide, because they sometimes say a lot of shit that I'm just like, actually, right? But it's like... But I don't do it. You want to know why? Because I don't want to get into that conversation, and the person who usually brings it up is also a fucking woman, so I don't want to get into that kind of debate with a woman either. But more often than not, right? More often than not, right? You know, there is a reason for some of these things. And in regards to that particular female friend of mine, she has definitely had experiences that are not that great. I'm not going to get into it, but... you can absolutely assume the worst, and you can definitely be more than likely correct. And, yeah, it's, I'm not going to debate that point with her. Because I feel like, to a degree, right? Some people can get away with having this mentality, because that mentality is earned, you know? If bad things happen to you, it makes sense that you would feel and think this way. I'm not going to give you shit for it. I'm just going to accept it for what it is. But as far as, like, bad opinions go, if you're a friend of mine and it's just, like, another guy, or I'm with a group of guys and one of them has this opinion, I'm going to look at them and I'm going to be like, you do realize that petite women also exist, right? You do realize that that not all women are exactly as anatomically correct as they should be. It's just how it happens. It just happens that way. Are you saying people who may potentially fall in love with these people may be potentially secretly pedophiles? Are you saying that people who like these people, who like women that are the exact opposite, are just MILF hunting? Like, what are you saying? What are you actually saying? These are the brain dead arguments, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. At some point, right, you just get tired of hearing the same arguments. And as someone who's been a part of the anime, who's been a part of the anime culture since fucking high school, you know, like before it was even cool. Again, I have to preface this, you know, like I've seen all of the arguments at this point. I've seen all of the arguments. I've seen the debates, and I'm still left wanting, because there's never a real hard solution on anything, especially on the debate of lolicons. And I'm not even going to get into that myself on this channel. All I'm going to say is that these people like this do exist, and they exist for a reason that has to do with genetics, among other things, as well as dietary habits. Just get over it. It's not that big of a deal.
Little weird, right? Like, excuse me, Poo Poo Pee Pee Chan is 2,000 years old, and this is Poo Poo Pee Pee Chan. But this does not even look like a child. This looks like a cute woman. This is like a random rant, but I feel like there are no more cute women nowadays. You know what I mean? You have all, like, the Insta baddies, the E-thots, the E-girls, the muscle mommies.
Oh god, Pal Delphine flashback. Jesus Christ. God, you remember when the funniest fucking thing was the fact that she managed to sell her bathwater and get away with it? That shit was crazy. That was a time, man. That was a time when fucking the world still, to some degree, made a little bit more sense than it does now. God, that was a time. I wish we could go back to those days. I wish I was back at high school sometimes so I don't have to think about or even consider this shit. The internet has fucked over a lot of things, and in particular, it's fucked over common sense. I miss common sense. What happened to common sense? Jesus fucking Christ, I miss common sense.
The boss babes. The boy babes. But I feel like everyone's just hot now. Which, by the way, I don't think is healthy for the male psyche whatsoever. You shouldn't wake up and be able to scroll through pictures of, like, the hottest woman you've ever seen in your life, like, 20 times before you've had, like, your morning cup of coffee.
And that's why that's why you should pace yourself. As speaking from one guy to another, if there's any guys who will be watching this, which is more than likely than not, pace yourselves. You should pace yourselves. If you're going to use social media, you should be wary of the fact that most women do not look like the things you see in fiction, TV, movies, among other things. You should pace yourself. I don't know if there's really a scientific, like any real scientific lean or push around the idea or concept that, your idea of what is considered a average woman or what is considered a good-looking woman or preference, basically, gets so skewed because of exposure to certain stimuli that it causes you to only view a certain type of person as being attractive. I don't know if that's actually a thing, but what I can say is that if you're worried about these types of things, and you're worried that this is a situation that you could possibly find yourself in, then just fucking pace yourself. Maybe you don't need to jack off today. Maybe you can wait until next week on your weekend to do it. Maybe you don't have to do it when you're in the bathroom at your fucking job, working a desk job, being bored out of your fucking mind during your hours working at a fucking cubicle. Maybe you don't have to do it when you're always at home. Maybe you don't even have to do it all the time on your weekends. Maybe you only need to do it once and then just call it a day, right? I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but I am going to say that if you're worried about certain things, there's only one way around it. Stop exposing yourself to things that are potentially going to make you think and feel different ways about things. It's just the way it is. I don't know how else to say that. It really should not take this much thought to just decide this might not be a healthy thing for me to do. Maybe I should just not do it, or at least not do it as often as I could, right? It's like drugs. You don't take prescription medication in abundance. You take it as prescribed by your doctor. You don't OD on this shit. It's the same thing with masturbation. You don't OD on this shit because you're probably going to internally break something in you that's probably not going to be good for you long term. I think anyone who is rational can understand this. Okay. We're moving on.
Seen in your life like 20 times before you had like your morning cup of coffee. You shouldn't log in and immediately be one-shotted by 10/10s all day, as if that wouldn't make you go insane, as if that wouldn't make you crash out. Like back in the day, you'd probably see like one fine dame on your bus ride to work, and you'd think about her for 40 years until the day you die. That's how it used to be. That's how it should be. Now every woman is like a crazy hot
or that crazy hot tamale you meet at the clubs or at the joints, right? You had maybe like one night with, managed to get lucky, and then you constantly refer to that. You tell your buddies about that story, you tell your sons about that story eventually, and it just becomes like one of those things where it's just like, let me tell you a story, fella, about that time where I met this hot fucking chick during my youth at the club. It was some fucking crazy shit, let me tell you. It's just like, there used to be stories about this, but it's just, like you see it, like it's, I will definitely agree on this particular point. Like there's a lot of women who put a lot of effort into making themselves look almost too fantastical. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think some of the extremes that they go to get to that point is kind of fucked up. Have some self-respect.
unobtainable Instagram goddess with the fattest of ass. Zoomers don't know how good we had it. You'd go to Blockbuster and the 21-year-old cashier behind the counter would be the most adorable woman you've ever seen. No Botox, no lip filler, just a pure soul, full of joy and whimsy. And now women are full of hate and SSRIs. But they're hot. They're hotter than they've ever been. They're hotter and more depressed than they've ever been in history.
God, isn't that the truth? Jesus fucking Christ. Just like the amount of times you would see, like, even in your own workplaces, just like some really adorable, if not cute women, and then just they're not even trying, they're just naturally this way, and you're just like, maybe I'll go strike up a conversation, see where it goes. You go and sit down, maybe, or you just approach and you're just like, hi, how are you doing? My name is so and so. How are you today? You think you can tell me how to do this one thing? How has your day been so far? What kind of job do you do around here? And then they're just immediately just like the most, they're already giving you the side eye. They're already questioning you. They're already just looking at you like you're the only thing that you have to offer is just boring conversation, obvious, leaning to an obvious direction, and then just assume the worst, and then just immediately just want you to fuck off. It's just like, it really does suck. Women are hot. Women are definitely hot. They are certainly hotter than they've ever been. And their personality took a complete 180 in the opposite direction at the same fucking time. It is truly fucking sad. This is one of the saddest truths of our generation. And it makes me almost depressed sometimes.
Sad. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, anime. I didn't take my Vyvanse today, could you tell? Men's fantasy. A big titty woman with
I don't even know what that is.
16-year-old that is useful for cooking, cleaning, and sex. Women's fantasy. Gets treated like a queen and a man who keeps tracks of our periods so he can take care of us.
Oh, okay, so it's actually cool when a man keeps track of your periods. Great, because the last time I heard was fucking weird when a guy kept track of your periods. And I even made a comment about this. I went on a bit of a tirade on one of my previous streams about how, like, oh, it's totally okay. It's totally not okay when a guy keeps track of your periods, regardless of whether or not they're actually a friend of yours or they're actually on that level with you or whatnot. But it's fine when a fucking gacha game on a goddamn mobile app does it. It's, god damn it. This is what I hate this so much. I hate it. I fucking hate it. It's make fucking sense. Just make fucking sense. Is this really that hard? Just make fucking sense. What is and isn't the right way to do something? You ask a woman this, you know, like what is and what isn't the right approach to a certain to cold turkey approaching certain conversations, and they'll give you several fucking answers except the right one. And then even when you figure out what the right one is, you realize it's kind of fucked up, because it's like the obvious right answer would be to confidently stride up, not give a shit about their comfortability, their opinions, whatever may have you, and just assert yourself into their lives suddenly, randomly, almost unorthodoxically, and just be like, hey, you look cute. Can I buy you a drink? And before you even let them have an answer, it's just like, nope, sorry. It's too late for that. I already got you one. Hi, my name is so-and-so. It's just like, I hate it so much. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna fucking die. I'm gonna die. This is the kind of shit that I hate. I hate it so much. That they for years they're just like, oh, we want nice guys. We want guys who will be gentlemen, who are gentlemanly. They treat us like we're princesses, like we're queens. They said this to most young men when they were no less than 5 fucking years old. They grow up, they do these things, and what happens? Ew, that's creepy. Ew, how dare you? Oh my god, I can't believe you would do this. Oh my god, you smell bad. You're fat, you're ugly, you're all these things, right? Right? Because that's what they were told. That's all they were told. That's what they were told. They were told that was the only thing they would need to do, which is just be nice. Just be nice. Just be kind to people, and that'll get you where you need to go. They do that without doing anything else, and they're just like, they're so fucking shocked and in awe, just like, ew, why are these guys so gross? They smell, they clearly haven't bathed. Like, what the hell? And it's just like, no fucking shit, Sherlock. How do you think we got to this point? It's because your mom and generations before you were telling these people already before they were even old enough to even have a thought in their goddamn brains to basically be like, oh, just be nice. Just be nice to girls. You will get far. And it didn't fucking turn out that way, did it? Pisses me off every fucking time. Oh my god. This is why I'm always skeptical of things, because as soon as I realized there was an inconsistency between the things that my aunt says, between the things that my mother says versus other things that other people say, and there was a clear and obvious leaning towards different directions, right? I started to formulate skepticism. I learned from an early age to be skeptical of everything. And oh my god, has it saved my ass so many times. I don't even know what kind of person I would be if I wasn't a skeptical son of a bitch. God damn it. Ugh. I'm sorry. I'm a bit heated. This is what happens when I watch a Shoe on Head video sometimes. I get fucking heated on the slightest of topics, just the slightest of just points and statements. It's truly a wonder.
Gets treated like a queen and a man who keeps tracks of our periods so he can take care of us. I think I speak for a lot of women here when I say our fantasies do not, in fact, include men tracking our periods.
The hypocrisy is real. The absolute hypocrisy is real. I've already went on a tirade about it. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Personally, if my husband was like, honey, just a reminder, you're in your luteal phase, I'm taking the kids. Men like to pretend they want this, and then they beat their wife when dinner isn't ready, or their son when he's misbehaving. First of all, I'm sorry that happened to you, but there are in fact good men out there. I've seen them. Some may be in this very audience.
I just want to also preface that I like how they always focus on stuff like this. Women always paint like the most fascinating picture of certain interactions, right? They will say things like this, just like, oh yeah, but because I didn't have dinner ready, my husband beat the shit out of me. It's like, yes, because ass kicking just falls out of the fucking sky for literally no reason. I'm not saying that there are guys out there who don't quite literally do that. What I am saying is that there is certainly a statement to be had when Bill Burr, or was it Bill Mayer? I don't even remember anymore. When he went on top of a stage in front of several thousands of people and was just joking about his own relationship hurdles and hiccups, as well as some of the things that he witnesses throughout the course of his life, and how he's basically just like, okay, if we can recognize that beating the crap out of women is a terrible thing, we can also recognize that ass kicking doesn't just fall out of the fucking sky. And he's absolutely right. Because before the lead up to the proverbial ass kicking, and also you failing to make the dinner, there likely was a bit of an interesting terse exchange where you might have just been an absolute bitch, and maybe you just didn't think you were being a bitch. It's oh my god. I get so annoyed by this. There is no excuse for both behaviors. Fucking fix yourselves, for fuck's sake. And if you're a guy who is literally so annoyed by your relationship with another person that you're at the point where it's just like, the moment they even so much as look me the wrong way, I want to beat the shit out of them. Get the fuck out of that relationship. What the fuck are you doing? That is a disaster. That is a colossal masterclass disaster just waiting to happen. Just waiting to happen. You are going to get sued out of your fucking mind if you continue to do this shit. Literally, get yourself out of that situation. Divorce yourself from it literally and figuratively. Now, What the fuck is wrong with you?
Sorry, I couldn't keep a straight face. This is the shoe on head audience. You're all gremlins. Male fantasy equals a woman that can't run away from him. A woman that's dependent on him. Interesting. When men are involved, it's basic survival instinct to assume the worst. Men are guilty until they prove themselves innocent. You know what? I take my opinions back on free speech. I changed my mind. No more free speech. No more free speech until you bitches learn to behave. A woman's fantasy is a man who won't speak.
I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at the comment. What was it? Men are involved. It's basic survival instinct to assume the worst. When men are involved, it's basic survival instinct to assume the worst. The men are guilty until they prove themselves innocent. I mean, I would say the same. I would say this is a right mentality to have, depending on the context. But I wouldn't just assume the worst in everyone. I would try to give people the benefit of the doubt, at the very least. Err on the side of caution, but I would give them the benefit of the doubt. And this is coming from someone who works in fucking retail. Just give people just that slight bit of respect. Maybe they won't be the absolute worst, and maybe you'll find that it's actually not as bad as you think it is. And then when they do prove to be exactly what you thought they were, well then, congratulations. You found scum of the earth. Do with that what you will. I know what I would do with that, which is fuck all. As soon as I find people like that, I'm like, oh yes, I'm sorry to hear that. Let me find someone who can help you. And then I just walk the fuck away and never say anything or do anything about it. And they just they're just stuck there waiting for help that will never come. Why? Because I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. And if they're just as much of a bitch enough, I'm probably not going to actively want to help them. And though it might be a pain in the ass for my managers, even my own fucking managers don't like dealing with these people. In fact, they kind of get a kick out of telling these people to go kick rocks. I do not give the slightest fuck. No one else does. No one else tolerates them. Why should I? I don't even get paid enough to tolerate these people. I get paid $16.50 an hour. And that was even when I was working full-time. And it's not great. It doesn't pay the bills. So as far as I'm concerned, you want to be a problem? Go fuck yourself.
Worst. Men are guilty until they prove themselves innocent. You know what? I take my opinions back on free speech. I changed my mind. No more free speech. No more free speech until you bitches learn to behave. A woman's fantasy is a man who won't rape her, and a man's fantasy is raping a woman. I'm sorry, where is the rape, ma'am? Maybe that's how you see it, because you're brainwashed to hate men. So true. I hate how— but in reality, women are the real demons here. Oh, god damn it. We just want a happy relationship. Is it so much to ask for? Yes. Yes, it is. Oh look, more misogynistic gooner fantasy slop written by misogynistic gooner men. This is why 70% of anime is garbage. So here's the thing, that misogynistic gooner fantasy slop written by misogynistic gooner men was actually written by Saiko Tanabe, a woman. A woman wrote this story. And I feel like a very important detail everyone is sleeping on when they covered this was the fact that this is very much the female fantasy as well. A man loving you for who you are despite your flaws, literally sweeping you off your feet and carrying you around on adventures, helping you live out your dreams, face your fears, and supporting you through the good and bad times. You're going to sit here and tell me that's not the female fantasy too? Is this not the basic female fantasy? Is this not the knight in shining armor coming to rescue you and
No, because if you ask most women, they're not hot enough either. They're also not tall enough. They also don't take care of themselves nearly as much as they should. If you ask any woman, right, these qualities are great until they're not. I could go all day. I really could. I seen it all. I do not give a fuck.
Falling in love with you? Why on earth are so many women so mad at this? Are men now the hopeless romantics? Are men now the ones
They are! They fucking are! Oh my god! I've been saying this for a while too, and I've been suspecting it for years. I always thought women were the hopeless romantics. No, no, no. Men are the hopeless romantics. Because men, all they want is just a decent fucking girlfriend nowadays. They don't care about all of this other whimsical bullshit. They just want a girl who would just genuinely like them. And the only thing women want is either a convenient food and place to sleep, a person that gives them these things, or they just want sex and nothing else. Or, you know, my favorite thing, right? They just want someone they can use and abuse ad nauseum until there's literally nothing left of the person to give. It's like, it is so goddamn disgusting. It annoys me to no end how fucked up this whole situation is. It's like, here's a guy who wants a nice, healthy, decent fucking relationship, who just wants to be potentially married, has a girlfriend that loves and respects them, has kids, and is working hard to basically put food on the table, among other things, and a wife who respects their tenacity, their ability to perform, and is just quite literally the best supporting character in his narrative, and is always there to help him when he needs it, right? Right? Because it's a cooperative effort. It takes two to fucking tango, but for some bizarre fucking reason, this is a concept that is lost on a majority of women somehow. And it boggles my fucking mind. And all you would need to do is just to say what you want, and also just shut up and just do the work. Why is this so hard? They literally want to do anything else other than what would be expected of them, which is just literally be supportive, just be a partner, just be a go-getter. Is that such a difficult concept to understand? I don't. And then ignoring this particular issue for a second, the guys, their only desire is just a woman who will at least give them the basic courtesy of just feeling wanted, like feeling like they themselves are valued. That is a literal thing that some guys just only have, and that's the only thing they ever want, because they're already in the position and place where they believe that they're not capable of getting much else anymore. Not even a decent looking person. Just like, if you can fulfill these basic requirements, that is fine. That would be enough. I will not ask for much more or anything less or anything more than that. And they can't even get this right. And it's goddamn sad just how hopeless it is as the guy to try to find a decent fucking human being in this day and age. It is. You want to know why people go to other countries to find better women? It's because most of the women here are like apples that have long since rotten. It is truly fucking terrifying and surprising, even, just how bad it is. And you can't even say that analogy doesn't work either, because I know how you people operate. I know how you people socialize. As soon as one of you starts doing it, suddenly every one of you feels like they need to start doing it. Oh, you want to be a boss bitch? You want to be the kind of woman who just does shit, who just takes shit and doesn't need anybody else? Suddenly, everyone starts doing it. Everyone starts emulating the behavior because you think it's cool, because you think it's like the hottest shit imaginable, and it's not. It's fucking not. It's so fucking weird. We live in such a weird time. It is bizarre. Anyways, I'm just gonna let this go.
Yearning for a fairy tale romance? Is this why all the Disney Why are there so many women so mad at this? Are men now the hopeless romantics? Are men now the ones yearning for a fairy tale romance? Is this why all the Disney remakes are like, she's not gonna be saved by the prince, she's a strong, independent woman? Meanwhile, men still want to be the prince, men still want to be the knight in shining armor. Men are like, I will save you from your monotonous 9-to-5 job. I will give you a house and babies. And women are like, no, I must be an actuarial consultant. Be gone, vile misogynist. Is that what is occurring here? Also, that aside, there literally is a gender-swapped version of this story called Perfect World. It is a manga. Mango? I don't know. Do not come for me, weebs. Men will statistically leave their wives and partners the moment they find out they're disabled or have a life-threatening condition. You're right, it is a fantasy. Actually, that study was debunked by the authors themselves, who admitted they did the math wrong. It's actually not much higher, but then again, even if it was, and it happens, I've seen it happen to people, it's terrible. Marriage should be through sickness and through health, but that's not really the point here. And the fact that so many people are focusing on the wheelchair part of this.
Listen, if your partner's leaving you because of things, and you think it's because of shit like, oh, it's because you can't walk, it's because you're stuck in a wheelchair, it's because you have life-threatening diseases, or among other things, or some type of condition that prevents you from basically being a functioning human being, right? If you think that is the only reason, either you are choosing your partners wrong, or maybe there are just things about you that are just not worth being around. Have you ever stopped to consider this? Maybe there's just something about you in particular that is just a problem, and they want nothing to do with it. Alright? There's only so many cons before the pros start to become, like, the minutia of the equation, right? There's only so many times, right? There's only so many instances where it's just like, I could be exposed to, like, a certain level of problems that you are dealing with and that I will have to deal with as well, before the problems that prevail it start to exceed the benefits of being with you. And if your problems are just, oh, I have a physical condition that prevents me from functioning normally in human society, and it's more so just like, I'm also very toxic, I have a bipolar disorder, and I tend to exude a level of go fuck yourself behavior that is very debatably awful. There's only so many problems men are willing to tolerate before it eventually just becomes too much, and then the cons start to outweigh the pros, and then they're just like, yeah, I don't need this shit, and then they just fuck off, right? They just politely and casually just decide for themselves, I'm gonna just go fuck myself out of the situation right now and just find something better. It is. There are stages to this. All right, and if you're someone with a physical disability, especially something as obvious as, like, you're wheelchair bound, trust me, if they went into the relationship knowing full goddamn well you are wheelchair bound, that is the least of the problems that they are worried about. No, your personality is probably something to be desired, and they don't want to have to deal with. On top of the fact they probably need to help you get into bed, among other things, right? There's only so many cons before the pros start to seem bleak in comparison. I don't know what better way to say this other than just, like, fix your fucking problems. You have bigger problems outside of the obvious ones. Jesus fucking Christ.
This just proves that they just through sickness and through health. But that's not really the point here. And the fact that so many people are focusing on the wheelchair part of this just proves that they just don't get it. The ones of pure mind and pure soul get it. But these fucking semen demons out here, they don't get it. But not all semen demons. The amount of people in comments who just don't get that men want a cute, loving girlfriend is beyond me. They call them creeps for wanting actual love and not a girl boss who only wants your money.
Scoochon. She literally had a proverbial cancellation until Shu and Asmon apparently came in to help her with that. And that's, yeah, I mean, as mentioned on her own channel, which is pretty awesome. I like it when communities come together to clearly counteract bullshit. I like that kind of shit. I like anti-cancel culture behavior. It is truly amazing. Some people like cancel culture. Some people even understand it. I, too, understand it to a degree. I will not say that I agree with the idea of cancel culture, but what I will say is that I understand why it needs to happen sometimes. But most of the time, it is just a tool. And it is a bludgeoning tool. And it is abused very heavily. And I do not stand for this. If you're at a point where you need to fucking outright just call someone out and cancel them in front of a massive group of like Twitter and social media audiences, then I don't know what else to say about that other than that's just fucked up. That's just fucked up. That's a fucked up scenario to be in, and I would not want to be that person in that situation on both sides, because it is like fucking natural fucking class of disaster that no one should ever be put in that position of, even when it's on the proverbial correct side of the arguments. It is the worst case scenario. You would rather exhaust every other potential possibility before reaching that point. As someone who has seen enough internet controversies to last me a fucking lifetime, the last thing you want to do is start a proverbial cancel culture related issue, because then that could escalate into something far more nefarious, and I don't want to see that happen to anyone, right? We've already seen people literally end their lives and then turn out that those people who ended their lives because they were accused of something truly nefarious, they got unpersoned off of the internet and could no longer hold a job, could no longer find a job, could no longer function as a normal human being, as a functioning member of society, and then they just decide to off themselves, and then it turns out, oh, well, actually, I made up the whole thing, I just was lying about it. It's one too many times in instances that it's happened to where it's just like, okay, this is where we need to draw the fucking line. And we have yet to draw that line yet with cancel culture, because people still use cancel culture to cancel people for sometimes benign, obvious, and sometimes, inexplicable reasons that they themselves refuse to explain, despite the fact they're the ones starting the shit. I cannot tell you how annoying it is to see people come out of the woodwork and accuse someone of some heinous crime, and then they refuse to explain the level of depths that this person went through to exercise this crime, and their excuse for why they won't explain it is because I don't have to explain myself, all right? I don't need to explain myself because I'm the victim. It's like, no, shut your fucking mouth. You're either going to put your money where your mouth is, and if you're not going to follow a cancel culture level of like announcements of just like, this person is a this thing, and I'm going to lawyer the fuck up and put this person to task over it. If it's not followed with something like that, I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't even want to see it. And if I do see it, and you're not lawyering up, you better have a good fucking reason for why you're doing this, or I'm going to literally not give a shit. And most people should think this way. Most people should exercise this kind of logic of just like, stop paying attention to people who clearly just want attention, or just, do it and then realize you just fucking unpersoned someone for literally no other reason than just because the person who made the claim is just a piece of shit human being who honestly should be in jail or worse because they lied about it. I hate people like this. I would rather anything else happened than cancel culture. I hate this shit. But that's just me. Anyways, moving on.
Ah, thank you. A sane person. Hopefully the replies aren't full of people calling her a pick-me. Pick-me alert. Least obvious pick-me. Me, pick me please. Hope he picks you, sis. Pick me. An incel could have written this. Fuck. Why are so many VTubers either pick-me's or racist? You mean why do so many female VTubers disagree with you? Why so many aren't towing the mainstream liberal feminist NPC line? Because they can. See, the most powerful weapon
You know, that is true, and you want to know why it's easy for them? It's because they're fucking anonymous. Alright? Even I'm anonymous. I'm technically anonymous. David isn't my real name. This avatar isn't even me. Okay? I exist purely and specifically because I don't have to show my face on camera. And a lot of people exercise this virtue to the greatest of uses. We have so many people on the internet now who would otherwise never have had a channel, would have otherwise never have started their own careers on the internet, because they would have to put themselves on blast on the daily and have to be subjected to the worst kind of vitriol, actually. And so with their families, their brothers, their sisters, their friends, everyone would be caught in the crossfire. But with a VTuber model, you don't have to worry about this shit. With a VTuber model, you can get away with a whole lot of fuck shit, because nobody would have to know who the fuck you are. It is truly a marvel, really. And in a fucking internet culture where everyone is quick to point fingers, holy fucking shit is it nice to be anonymous. Holy shit. You want to know why I started this channel? It's because I wanted to be myself. I wanted to be myself. I wanted to exercise being who I am. And the VTuber model being anonymous, I was a disembodied voice on the internet. But then I went from that to having this VTuber model. And now I am technically a person, a personality, a caricature on the internet. And it's the best fucking thing for me, because now I could just be myself unapologetically and get away with it. And no one has to know who I actually am. Not even my friends know who I am. That is the best part about it. That is the miraculous part of this whole situation, is that I don't have to tell anyone shit. I could just be me. Me, myself, and I. And everyone could go fuck themselves, because it's just my opinions. And if people really want to know who I am, I can't stop them. We have hackers all over the place. People really want to know who you are. They can find it. They can figure that shit out. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard either to be doxxed. It really isn't. So I've already accepted the reality that, hey, if I make a big enough stride, and if I get more infamous and popular, the idea and likelihood of me getting doxxed is just increased by that much amount. It is an eventuality and inevitability to infamy that you just have to accept at some point. And just because people can figure out where you live and who you might be in actuality, that doesn't necessarily have to color the way you publicly view yourself or promote yourself. Because at the end of the day, most normal people don't give the slightest fuck who you actually are. As long as your points are based and as long as you're reasonable enough, nobody gives a shit. It is the best part. The best fucking part. I don't know who these VTubers are. I don't know what they look like in actuality. Despite the fact they've been doxxed and canceled numerous times, I never see the shit. I never see their actual humanoid persons behind the camera figures. Because I don't care. And I don't have to care. Nor do I want to care. Because it doesn't bother me. It doesn't matter to me, actually. They're pretty enough as an avatar, and I would rather focus on what they have to say and what they have to offer, rather than who the fuck they are behind the scenes. It does not fucking matter. It really doesn't. The people who want to cancel these people are just the disgusting fucking... No. I'm done. I said enough. I said all that needs to be said.
Women have against other women is social ostracization. You don't want to be seen as a pick-me or a racist, so you keep your mouth shut in order to survive in female social circles. But in the cases of VTubers, virtual YouTubers, they're basically anonymous. They can say anything
exactly.
they want. They're basically wearing a mask. They're free from the chains of the eternal HR Longhouse. But apparently, even being anonymous online does not save them, because they still get doxxed for simply not hating men. Lovely. Maybe I should save this rant for a different video.
Kisu's married, by the way. She can't be classified as a pick-me because she's already been picked. I'm just saying. She's already got.
Someday. Moving on. Men are why we can't have nice things, by the way. First of all, men make all the things. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Also, I just realized it was a man saying that. It was a whole ass man saying men are why we can't have nice things. I don't deserve this trophy. This is for you, sir. This is for you. I'm not worth it. Listen, I make women jokes. I'm very critical of feminism and propaganda aimed at women. But you will never catch me in a million years saying some shit like women are why we can't have nice things. I have a mom. I have female family members. I have female friends. Maybe one day I'll have a daughter. Women make the world a beautiful place and, like men, can be flawed and deserve criticism, like anyone else. But there's something genuinely so cucked about people who put down their own gender or race. Oh god, race. Self-hating white people. Don't get me started on self-hating white people. White people are so evil. I hate being white. White people can't dance. White people food is so gross. You're not getting into Wakanda, bro. You're not getting invited to the cookout. Enough. But yeah, women were not the only ones who had a problem with this. There were a lot of men who didn't quite relate to this being the average male fantasy. It's fine to love the disabled. I didn't need to remind you that. But you glorify it? This anime is certainly Marxist propaganda. The movie is about him taking a job as her caretaker, and when he learns of her dreams, he makes it his mission to help her dreams come true. So it is Marxist propaganda to help a disabled person pursue their dreams? Yeah, it's woven in. Empathy is the target of propaganda. Marxism is when girl in wheelchair. I love this. Empathy is the target of propaganda. Every piece of media that makes you feel empathy is communism. Political brain rot. If you're at the point where you see this and you're thinking of communism, you need to log off. You are unwell.
That is literally a just go outside and touch some grass moment. That is literally a moment where you need to stop and think to yourself, I need to go outside and touch some grass for a second. That is literally, I need to touch grass behavior. Because clearly you don't know what common sense even is anymore. You only see things from a very particular lens, and that lens is political. God damn it. People really do. They really do. They really baffle me sometimes, man. Really fucking do.
I'm sorry, but when I reproduce, I don't want a high probability of my offspring being mentally or physically retarded. We need a better class of incels whose bar is higher than the retarded. She's not retarded, she has a spinal injury that's not genetic. Also, what is this LARP? I love how everyone is just kind of having like a—
How is that retarded, by the way? Like, she doesn't have a mental disability. Are you saying that being in a wheelchair is a problem? Should we just... What are we supposed to do then? Are we just supposed to just completely abandon, maybe even off the fucking wheelchair people? Should we just count them out of the gene pool? Is that what you're saying? Because I think, you know, if society actually went down that line of thinking, you would be regretting those words real quick.
A normal conversation about this clip.
God.
And this guy just comes out of nowhere like, I would never put my pure white seed in such a vile creature. Like, you absolutely know this guy has a non-white girlfriend. They all do. All these, like, I hate white people women always have white boyfriends. All these, I hate non-white people boys always have non-white girlfriends. I don't know what it is, but I've seen it too many times. I guarantee you when this man logs off of his Black Sun Roman statue Twitter account, he's clapping Latina booty cheeks. My fantasy is not being a simp, but okay.
I don't know about that.
Simping to love a woman. Nah.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know how some guys in this market think. I see a lot of women behavior because women love posting their own L's, quite literally, as Shu has also made a video on this. But I mostly am very conscientious of the women's side of the bullfuckery. The man side of it is something that I hear about often in my own circles, but not something that I actively engage in.
This is not the male.
Just for the record.
That man is a beta male. If she wasn't in a wheelchair, she would leave him for Chad. Fellas, is it beta to love a woman? This is not my fantasy. This is some gay shit, to be honest. Fellas, is it gay to love a woman? What no pussy does to a motherfucker. Brother, I've seen what pussy does to a motherfucker, and it's far worse.
It can be. It really can. It's also more damaging. My brother's a great example of this, alright? Again, knocked up a broad who already had 3 other kids to different men. It is amazing. It is unmistakably shocking just how little fucking care and respect some women have for their male counterparts. I'm not even kidding. Sluttish behavior. Real dog shit behavior. These bitches deserve to be on the corner of these streets. They deserve the fucking streets. Quite literally and figuratively. I want these people out of society, but holy shit, no. We have to make sure we provide and give them everything they ever want, because despite the fact that they're garbage human beings, they have a vagina, and we don't like seeing sad vagina people. That's what it boils down to. It is fucking stupid.
The average male fantasy is taking care of their crippled wife. I don't think I've ever had that fantasy before. I thought it was gonna be about going on some quest to kill the dragon to win the princess or something. It is. That is the average male fantasy. But there
Well, yeah, that is a fantasy, but it's a part of the, it's one of many multiple fantasies. It is the idea of the relationship, not necessarily about the crippled person. It is about the ideal of the relationship on display. That is the part to focus on, people. Let's just focus on the feeling of what we're seeing and not the actual context of what we're seeing. It is ridiculous that I have to point this out. Just focus on the actual presentation and not whatever fuck shit you can glean off of the visuals.
There are no dragons to slay. There are no princesses to save. But there is that little old lady in the grocery store who can't quite reach that top shelf. There's that heavy box the pretty girl you work with can't quite lift herself. There's that jar of tomato sauce your wife can't quite open. There's that Lego set your little son can't quite put together himself. Or there is this paraplegic girl who wants to see the ocean. This is the Princess and the Dragon story. And despite what many are told, men do have a lot of love to give. And they want some kind of excuse or mechanism to show that love. In a world where men expressing themselves is either seen as toxic or gay. And one way of expressing that love is solving problems. Men fucking love solving problems. I don't know what it is. They also love reading Wikipedia articles. The amount—
Well, yeah, I mean, like, as a man, all right, I will tell you why that is. It's because we like being competent. We want to be. Not only do we like being competent, we like being competent in the eyes of the people we care about. All right, we want to be seen as functioning members of society, as go-getters. We want to be seen as competent individuals that people can rely on for whatever problems or needs that they might be having at that particular moment, especially when it comes to women. This isn't rocket science, all right? It is neurologically hardwired in every man that they want and yearn to be seen as competent by their significant other. This is not a difficult concept to be understood. It is a simple fact of reality. I want to be seen as someone who is capable of doing his own shit and fixing his own problems and fixing problems that maybe you can't fix yourself, but I could do happily. Because, god damn it, do I like the feeling of being seen as fucking useful in the eye of my particular spouse. It is not. Why is this such a hard idea to understand? This is not difficult. This is not rocket science. I have been on this one video for almost, 2 hours now. Going on massive tirades, only just to continue to hammer on this essential fucking point. This isn't hard. Just respect your fucking partner. Love them unconditionally, and maybe, just maybe, you will have something that'll stand the test of time. Why is this so hard? For fuck's sake. Ugh.
A lot of times I walked over and my husband is reading a random fucking Wikipedia article about like the world's tallest buildings or like a random battle in World War II. I didn't know if this was autism or what, but apparently it's a man thing. Anyway, yes, men love solving problems. And in a world that makes them feel useless, makes them feel like they have no purpose, men desperately feel like they need to prove their worth. They are desperately looking for a purpose in life. So it is not at all shocking to me that the modern young man is seeing a clip like this and longing for this. A lot of modern men don't have a chance to prove themselves, to make something of their lives. They don't have a chance to provide anything for anyone because they don't have anything to provide and they don't have anyone. They are doing everything their grandfathers did, but seeing none of the results. They're lost. What can they provide?
She is currently preaching to the fucking choir. Not in the sense that she's wrong, but in the sense that it's a feeling and statement that is understood by, I think, a majority of men. Anyone watching this, any males watching this, would obviously understand exactly what she's saying, and it's true. Society does not care about you. It has abandoned you. It does not have the single slightest fuck to give for you or any of your problems. In fact, the only way you could possibly solve your problems is by being the absolute worst that society has to offer. And that is a fucked up scenario to be in, isn't it? The only way to get ahead in life is by being the most cutthroat, money-hungry, greedy piece of shit you could possibly manifest in your mind and get away with it without people making so much of an issue out of it. That is the level of bullshit that men will have to constantly, that will constantly have to run grips with themselves over for as long as time itself will allow. And as society will allow. It is an eventuality and realization that you will have at some point in your life, especially when you're young and you don't know what the fuck is going on and why you can't get ahead in life. And then when it clicks, it's just like, oh my God, what the fuck? What is wrong with people? What is wrong with society? And it is such a massive fucking, it is such a dystopian level of like a double take. It's just like, in order to succeed, you have to fuck people over to do it. It is a truly disgusting realization. And unless you're willing to walk that path, you are fucked. You are virtually and prophetically just fucked. I don't know how else to say this. I don't know a better way to explain this to you. The fact that you can only get as far as you can outside of that is by relying on other people to help you get to those points. That's even worse. You actually have to socialize and know people in order to get into better positions without having to sacrifice things that you would otherwise want to keep, such as your sanity or, your manners, your personality, things about you that are considered virtuous, perhaps, even. I don't know how else to explain that. I don't know how a better way to say that other than it's a really fucked up scenario to be in as a guy who only has one option to get ahead in life, and that option is by being an absolute piece of shit of a human being, which is the counter opposite of what women want, but they seem to be trying to make into existence, and society seems to actively want to make into existence. But whatever.
As I said earlier, her being in a wheelchair is the protector and provider instinct taken to a extreme. And yes, it is a fantasy, considering if you ask anyone who's actually in a wheelchair, they know it's not all butterflies and rainbows, and they know that it's hard on relationships. It can be difficult on their partner. But just like in the movie, it's not shown as butterflies and rainbows. Josie feels like a burden. But towards the end of the movie, the guy takes on that burden. Not because he gets something in return, but because it's his duty. Because it makes her happy, which makes him happy in return. Loyalty, duty, virtue, acts of service, big or small. Men live for that shit. And yes, these are stereotypes. Not everyone fits into these boxes, blah 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 blah. But for the most part, it's true. When many men look at this relationship, that is what they see. And a lot of modern women are looking at this relationship and being disgusted because, in a way, it's the complete inverse of the strong, independent woman they've been sold. They've been told they need to be. The modern woman crafted by modern Disney for modern audiences. Unlike the Hollywood-crafted modern woman, this woman does need her man. She is not strong and she's not independent, at least physically. This doesn't mean she's like an empty vessel with no thoughts or freedom. No, in fact, in the movie, Josie does roll away from him a few times. It is a fantasy not because of a power imbalance, but because the man has a tangible purpose, and the woman is willingly and lovingly letting him fulfill that purpose.
Because I can depend on you. I know that if I ever feel frightened, I can just reach out to you.
Men simply want something good to die for, to make it beautiful to live. This manifests in a lot of ways, but the most common is having a loving partner and/or a family. Something unobtainable to many people nowadays. So yes, literally one of the most normal things ever is becoming a fantasy. Sad. Also, men will deny this, but they absolutely have a biological clock. It may not hit in your teens or your 20s, but one day you're going to have a dream. You have a little daughter making you pancakes with your wife in the morning, and you're not going to be able to get it out of your head. And that is the male biological clock. Everything you do, the money you make working...
I don't know how to even compartmentalize what I just heard, but it's a truth. I've already admitted this. I often think about it every now and again, just like, man, I should be married and have a child right about now. There's just something about the idea that is just so appealing at certain intervals in your life that you're just like, God, I wish that was me. But it's not you, because you don't have that, and you kind of have to just accept that fact. Some men can't accept that fact. My brother's an example of this, you know, like, he saw a chance to leap at a relationship, he fucking took it, and then he bit that bullet, and now he's basically regretting it ever since. You know, like, there's only so much of the fantasy of having a relationship that the idea becomes so fulfilling that the risks and the problems that are associated with it now are just like, it might as well should just stay in fantasy land, because it's not worth it. It's not worth potentially losing your life or having your entire existence being used as a proverbial piggy bank for someone else's needs. It's not worth it. You don't need to have that parasite in your life. You just need to be yourself and focus on you, especially when you're at a point in your life where you don't know what even is you or even what gives you purpose. It is truly a fucked up situation to be in, and I don't want to be in that position either. So, no, I'm not going to have that kind of relationship. I'm not pursuing that type of thing until people get their shit together. That's just the way it is. Most men feel the same way. That's just how it's going to be until people start actively policing this shit. In fact, I would actually recommend, ladies, that if there's any women watching this, and I saw that there's some viewers who are currently watching this, I don't know if you're women, I don't know who you are, but if any of you are vagina creatures out there, you know, start calling this shit out. All right? It's really not that big of a deal. Just call this shit out when you see it. All right? Men put other men to task when it comes to the same fuck shit that you hate, such as the proverbial terrifying, terrible R word, among other things, right? As well as sexual harassment and some others. You know, like, we put other men to task over this shit. You should be able to put women to task for emotional abuse and quite literally parasitic behavior. This should not be a one-way street. It really shouldn't. And again, it takes two to tango. You have to be willing to give and sacrifice some things about yourself in order to make something work. That's just how it is. It's just how it is. I don't know what other way to say that other than that. That's just what the necessity of it.
That grating 9-to-5 job, it will all be for something bigger and more important than yourself one day. You will come home to a warm and happy home, greeted by people who care about you, and love you, and rely on you, and everything will make sense then. Until then, you'll just be on the internet, being called a misogynist, for wanting something bigger and more important than yourself, for wanting something beautiful and normal. And that is the average male fantasy. That, and 3 hot chicks at once. Hell yeah, brother! Haha, you know what I'm saying? So that was that little video. Men in the comments, let me know. Am I correct? Is that the average male fantasy? Or is it not that deep? Men and women in the comments, what is your fantasy? And no, I don't mean that. I don't want to hear about how you want to be crushed by a 12-foot futa. That is between you and God, not you and Shoe-on-Head. I mean, what is your ultimate dream? Do you want to travel the world? Do you want a nice big family one day? Do you want to own a farm? Do you want to live in a shed in the woods and make pipe bombs? Let me know in the comments and I will see you soon
That's
with a new video.
Oddly specific fantasy. No, I think she's pretty spot on. I think she's very, very spot on. As a guy, I definitely agree with everything she just said, and I think that that's absolutely valid. That is a very valid dream and idea. But yeah, that was that video. I'm gonna be right back real quick. I need to use the restroom. Holy shit.
Along with Elon Musk have
No, stop talking. Sorry. Anyways, I will be right back. And maybe I'll discuss it further. I've already said everything I need to say, but maybe I'll compartmentalize it somewhere. I have no idea. I'm just gonna be right back real quick.